Hello, welcome to my channel A Book Force. My name is Kim and today I'm going to be doing a review of The Players by Minette Walters. So I picked this up really randomly. I didn't plan on reading this. I just heard about it from Bookish Travels, so I'll link her channel down below. And since I don't read a lot of historical fiction, I decided to try this. And it was an ARC. I received this as an ARC from Netgalley, so I was really pleased by that. And I also listened to this on audiobook on Spotify. So there's like 15 hours for free each month, so I usually use those 15 hours. The narrator was Emma Gregory, and I really enjoyed her style. She has a very deep voice, but she's still able to do like lighter voices sometimes, she lowers it for the men, and it's really she has a tone of voice that really pleases my ears. I'm very picky. Like if there's anything that gets on my nerves in the narration, I won't listen to the audiobook. I just try to sample. But yeah, so I gave this 5 stars. I really loved it. Like that was absolutely for me. For me, like historical fictions, I usually either it's too focused on the history and the characters are lacking, in my opinion, or it's too focused on like the love story, or like the plot and the history is a bit not as well researched as it should be. Or sometimes like they use very well-known historical character, like a king, that's like King Henry VIII, for example, and they just romanticize everything, and I can't really get into that because it's too well-known. So for this, there is one character that is actually historically real, and the rest are mostly, like, I think the rest are inventions of the author. And this book is a sequel to another historical fiction. It's called The Swift and the Harrier. But I don't think you need to have read that one to enjoy The Players. In fact, I am going to read The Swift and the Harrier because I really love this. So for sure, I will put that on my TBR eventually. So this is set right at the time of the Duke of Monmouth's rebellion in the 1684-85, and just right after, like, he's the illegitimate son of the King Charles II, and since he's illegitimate, the heir to Charles II, who did not have children with his wife, was his brother, who is James II, who is Catholic, and the Duke of Monmouth does a rebellion. Like he was exiled in the Netherlands, and he tries to invade England because he's Protestant. He thinks he's going to have a lot of support. So history tells it did not succeed, and it involved a lot of poor people from the southwest country of England, so Dorset, Somerset, these places. And he just picked up like randomly like farm laborers, like blacksmiths, any type of people. Like he just had them follow him, and unfortunately he did not succeed in his rebellion, and all those poor people are now targeted by King James II. So the times it is set in is called the Bloody Assizes. It's court, basically, like people are being sued like in the courts by the king for treason. And our main character in this is Elias. At first you don't know who he is, or he looks like a spy at first, so he knows the Duke of Monmouth. He talks to him, tries to dissuade him from doing what he did, but he didn't succeed, unfortunately. And Elias is very mysterious at first, and he's also the type of character, like almost a romance character, I would say, like a typical hero from a Regency romance, for example. Like he's very tall, handsome, of course. He's very secure, very sure of himself, and he has a moral compass. So he's quite appealing in that way, but he's more than that. He's a bit more like he's not perfect, and he's intelligent, and he has a mother that he loves very much. So yeah, he's a full character in my. He's very well realized. That's what I enjoyed about this. It's not the history though is well researched. I learned a lot about a time period that I was not really familiar with. I'm more familiar with Charles II reign as Restoration. Before that, Oliver Cromwell, Charles I, and then after that, I'm more familiar with the Glorious Revolution and Queen Anne and all that. But in that period, just when James II was crowned and anything that happened at that time, I was not really that familiar with. So I learned very much. And also, like, there's a lot of a nice cast of characters in this. And they could be cliche, but they're not. Like, you have a very, very intelligent young woman who's also a recluse because she has a handicap. But she's not just that. She's insecure, she has a lot of issues, and she did not get the best treatment when she was a child. So there's a lot of things that are really interesting about the characters. I really enjoy them as people, but they're also really clever and really they're knowledgeable in what they do. And they're kind of there to help those poor people that are being tried for treason. Like, they're trying to save as many as they possibly can because they think it's unfair that they're being punished for what Monmouth did. So that's the setting. And there's also the character that is historically that existed historically is a Judge Jeffreys, who was called the hanging judge. So he does not have a great reputation in history. And Minette Walters gives him kind of more of a fuller personality. Like, he's not an angel at all. He still did what he did. Like, the facts are not changed, but she gives him a humanity. And he's kind of my favorite character. He ended up being my favorite because he was so well-rounded, so funny as well, like in his way. Also very tragic and disagreeable, unlikable, judgmental. He was a lot. But yeah, I enjoyed this. And there's like a slight romance as well, but the focus is not on that mostly. But the romance is not physical, I would say. Like, it's not a Regency romance where there's a lot of interactions that way. No, it's intellectual. It starts on an intellectual level, and all the conversations in this book are really, really good. In characters that are intelligent, you kind of feel like they are intelligent. They don't just tell you he's intelligent. You kind of hear him talking, and you believe it. So yeah, heist, his story, a bit of romance, personal interactions. Like the mother of Elias is really interesting. She's the heroine from the prequel, and she's a lady of consequence, but she's also she runs a hospital in the 17th century. So that's really interesting. And she has like philosophical and scientific discussions with Judge Jeffreys, and it's really delicious. Yeah, and the heist portion is very interesting. Like, I call it a heist because it's not a mystery, it's not a detective story. It's really trying to derail the proceedings and trying to save people. So trying to get in the way. So those portions of the book were also very interesting and fascinating. So I enjoyed everything. So yeah, I would really recommend this if you love historical fiction. If you want to get into historical fiction and you like romance, like the Regency romance I mentioned, then definitely give this a try. There is no dose but at all, so don't expect any of that. Yeah, so definitely 5 out of 5 star, and it's not my last book by Minette Walters. So let me know if you've read it, what you thought, or if I gave you all, maybe I'm going to read it now. And then see you next time.